Yo, what's going on everyone? My name is Avirk and I'm a pro player from Canada. I've won in multiple online tournaments and my first offline was at WePlay where I placed 5th place. Before we start into this Raiden guide, be sure to subscribe to DashFight for more character guides and check out their website for all things FGC. Stick around until the end of the video to see which character guide is coming next. Okay, so let's start the guide off with just some basic information that you need to know. So is best neutral buttons, anti-airs, and everything like that. So we'll start off with standing one. Standing one is 7 frames. It's a good stagger to use too, and it's his fastest punish. Then there's back one. Back one is a mid, and it goes pretty far, so it's actually a very good button to use, and it's probably his best hit confirmable mid. Then there's forward one. Forward one also goes very far, but it's a high, so keep that in mind when you're using it. But it does go very far, so it's one of his better buttons. Then there's back two. Back two is good because it's kind of hard to react to, especially online. And if it hits twice, you're getting a KB with some really good damage. So back two is also very good to use. Then there's forward two. Forward two goes very far, but it's a high, but it's +2 on block. So you can start using forward two more after you start conditioning with like forward four. Forward four is similar to forward two, but it's not plus on block, but it's a mid. So that's also a very good button to use. Then there's back three. Back three is decent. It's a low, but you can kind of react to it. So it's not the best stagger, but you can get away with doing it once in a while. And then there's his down four, just all of his pokes. So there's down three, down one, and down four. His pokes are actually really good. His down one has good range on it. His down three also has really good range on it. I think most of the time you're gonna stick with either down one and down four, because down one does almost everything down three you can do is faster, but it's a mid, but that's fine. And down four goes very far. I highly recommend you guys use down four, because down four goes like, I think it's his furthest reaching button other than forward one. But that's it for like his buttons, and we'll go into his anti-airs next. So it can be a little bit tricky to time, but his standing one's actually one of the better anti-airs in the game, and you can get some like decent damage off of it. And you can also flawless block if you're playing against a character with a super oppressive jump kick. Then you just flawless block, you can get decent damage. But his standing one is one of the better anti-airs in the game. The timing is a little bit tricky, and also Robocop has a really good jump in, so it's clipping me a little more, but that's kind of it for the basic information. We'll move on to the more advanced stuff now. Okay, so now we'll talk about his best variation. I think the best variation is still Thunder Wave. It's just a regular tournament default variation. You can also play Raiden, but Thunder Wave kind of does it all. It has one of the best teleports in the game, which is really good for mobility and also like to keep yourself safe. If they block a string, you just teleport away. And then Storm Cell with this teleport is really good because it maximizes damage output and you can get some really good combos. And overall, I think it is better than Raiden, and I wouldn't move away from this variation. You can play Raiden, but I just think this one is a little bit better, so I'd stick with this one. Okay, now let's talk about his best strings. So we're gonna start off with 1-2-1. 1-2-1 is really good because first of all, 1-2 is his fastest punish. So you can, if it's hit, you can hit confirm the Storm Cell. But also, there's a crushing blow on this if it's either a punish or a counter hit. So the reason why this is good is because 1-2-1 actually has a flawless block gap, which you can actually use to your benefit here. So I'll set it to 1-2-1. So there's a gap here, and you can completely punish them for doing that. But what happens a lot is they're constantly going to be looking out for the gap, like right here. So you can start enforcing pressure by doing stuff like this, like 1-2 grab, 1-2 down one, or you know what I mean? Like you don't have to always go into the 1-2-1 because it's unsafe if they flawless block. So that's where the mind games come in, where you could just do like 1-2, do it down one, 1-2 grab, 1-2 back up. So there's a lot of mind games there. Then there's back 1-4. Back 1-4 also has a flawless block gap, but honestly, a lot of people don't even flawless block it just because there's back 1-2. So be sure to use this string a lot because it's plus on block and it ends in an overhead. Then there's back 1-2 to grab. This is how you kind of play him with like his 50-50, either into the grab or storm cell. You can get away with doing this quite a bit actually, because they're going to be a lot more scared to get hit by this just because it does a lot more damage. And then there's forward 1-1. Forward 1-1 is one of his best strings in terms of like when you're kind of like playing lame and making them come to you. You can clip them with this like pretty easily because of how far it goes and get some really good damage after you hit confirm. So that string's actually really good to use too. Then there's his back 3-1, which is decent. I wouldn't recommend using this string a whole lot because there's also a gap in it, and they can also break away before you can cancel into storm cell. But you can get away with kind of staggering it once in a while and then grabbing them. So I wouldn't recommend using that string a whole lot. Maybe when they don't have meter, you can use it. And there's 4-3-2. 4-3-2 is really good just because of how fast the second hit hits. So you can kind of like stagger it and down one or stagger grab. So this string is also really good to use. That's kind of like his best like offensive and oppressive strings that you can use to like pressure the opponent. But yeah, that's kind of it. These are the other strings I don't have posted. You're basically never going to use, like this. Never use this string. This string is good only in the corner. I wouldn't recommend using this mid screen because you can't really get damage off it. The string is 2-4-3, and that's kind of it for his best strings. Okay, let's go over all of Raiden's B&Bs now. So off any hit confirm, this is what it's gonna look like. That's the same thing off 1-2. And if you're playing with a small hitbox character, you can just skip the extra 1-2 after. So instead of doing that, you can do this. You can do forward 4, just straight into that. Because on small hitbox character, it's gonna be a little bit tricky to hit that. And then if you want to just do completely unbreakable damage, the combos 4-2 and then down 2 after that. So it'll look like this. That's completely unbreakable if you want to do that. That's kind of all of the B&Bs you're going to need to know mid-screen. For the crushing blows, they're going to be a little bit different. So back 2. Do that. Or you can do this if you want to corner carry. And then off down 2, there's 2 versions. There's a hard version and an easy version. So the easy one is just the same thing as the other combo. And then the hard version is just you do 2-4-3. So it actually does really good damage, but it's a little tricky to hit. So that's all the mid-screen combos you're gonna need to know. And then in the corner, it's essentially the same. The only difference is you can get really good damage off of this, because you can add this into it. So that's like 50% off that KB. And then another thing you can do in the corner that you can't do mid-screen is you can actually do this and hit confirm. The combo route's the exact same, but you usually can't do this mid-screen because it'll whiff. So in the corner, use this string a lot. And then the combos also can be a little bit different in the corner, so instead you could do this. But yeah, that's the only difference there is in the corner. Everything else is basically the exact same. But yeah, that's it for all of the B&Bs. Okay, so let's talk about Raiden's game plan. So what this character is trying to do is either you're going to be playing up close and be just mixing them with back 1-2 with the grab or back 1-2 to storm cell. And he's actually really good up close, so you can kind of play solid. You don't even have to like really commit to that and like either do a grab or storm cell. You can kind of just like play around this string and just play safe. But you definitely can just rush down, just 50-50 them. And the second way you can play this character is just play very defensively. You wait for them to make a mistake, and then you whiff punch with forward 1-1, and you play you just play lame. You just like move back, you zone them out, you just make them get impatient. Whenever they do get close to you, you can always just teleport out. You can really never like trap this character, like force him into a corner or something. Because Raiden's just like he has super good mobility. So that's one of his best strengths too. So that's kind of just like the two ways you can play him. You can do a mixture of the two. Generally, when I play Raiden, I don't like to commit to the 50-50 that much, just because my playstyle is just very safe. So I kind of just like get hit confirms, just play strike throw. His staggers are good, so you could just do like standing 1 to grab, 4-3 to grab. You can even get away with doing stuff like this. But yeah, that's kind of what the character's trying to do. You can either lame them out or just like rush them down, 50-50 them. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Raiden's weaknesses, and I want to keep this part of the guide brief, just because I think this character is super underrated, and he doesn't have any like glaring weaknesses at all. I think he kind of does everything well, and the only thing I can think of that's a weakness is up close. A lot of the stuff he's doing is kind of unsafe. So like this is punishable. You can duck this. This is punishable. Even and then he has like no like real plus frames to really enforce pressure that way, which can kind of suck. But you can get around all this stuff by like just like seeing that they block and then just like teleporting away. So there's ways to get around that, but it just kind of sucks that a lot of what he's doing has like gaps. Like there's a cross block gap here, there's one here too. Like a lot of his strings have gaps. That's kind of like the only weakness he has though. I think he's a super underrated character. I think he's actually very good, and he's one of the better characters in this game, I think. But yeah, that's really it for his weakness. I don't think he really has any significant ones at all. Alright, that's going to be it for the Raiden guide. I really hope the guide was helpful and you guys enjoyed the video. And you can also check out all the things shown in this video in the text version via the link in the description. And if you liked this video, please leave a like or comment below with your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks so much for watching.